Do you think that he wore the helmet during the broadcast simply to signal that he would one day be returning to football?
I'm not sure about that. I think he's just comfortable in the helmet.
That was a helmet he was wearing, right?
Sure, if you say so, Robert.
It was a helmet made of hair.
I know. Go on.
Oh,
You can do your hair jokes now. Go ahead.
Look, if anybody can make a hair joke, I can make a hair joke. I am comfortable with my look, my friend. You and I haven't talked about that, and I know it's certainly probably been discussed to death on Ballsy.
No, it hasn't.
But I am curious what you thought when you heard the news and how early you knew that this was going to happen. And if you went, you've got to be kidding me.
I was as surprised that he decided to come back as I was on how he left.
Yeah.
They were both equally surprising to me.
See, I was not surprised when he left. I mean, it was a bummer, but I wasn't surprised.
Well, I understood it.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about it was, and I think part of the reason he was back was he left, Jason Witten left the Cowboys when he did because he was presented with an opportunity he never thought he would have. And so this is...
Nobody thought he would ever have.
And this was not... Well, and that's what the fallout came to be afterwards. But this was not an aspirational goal. This was not, hey, when my career is over, I want to go into the booth. I think that's something he thought about because you thought about what you're going to do, and that's a natural that you kind of stumble across. But there was nothing in Jason Witten's DNA to say, I've got to get into the booth. I know I'll be great at that. But now suddenly you're presented with a chance to be in the Monday night booth. You don't have to pay your dues. It made perfect sense to do it because you were presented with an opportunity and you reacted what was best for where you were at that point in your football career and what it meant to you going forward. But I think once he got into it, like anything you don't pursue, if you don't, what he's done on the football field his entire life, he's always been passionate about what he does. His commitment and work ethic, you don't question whatsoever. He still had the commitment and work ethic to his time in the booth, but I'm not sure the passion was there. That was not something he'd always wanted to do. That is not how he defined himself or envisioned himself as a broadcaster. And so I think when you took that element away from it, now suddenly the other thing I find interesting too is Jason Witten's a grinder. He prides himself on watching the tape, on the detail, on the reason I can do this on September 17th in AT&T Stadium is because I did it 10 times on March 20th at the Star, and I did it 8 times on March 21st at the Star. He's a grinder. That's his identity. And in broadcasting, I'm not sure it's about grinding.
Right.
You have to be loose enough to allow your personality to come out, to interact with who's there with you. It's a different approach, and I think his approach to football is so different to the approach that can make a good broadcaster that it just never was a good fit.
I sort of wondered if he had given it another year, if he would have gotten better at it. He certainly could have had the off season to have gotten better. I think there was something. He wasn't as awful, I think, as his reputation.
No, he wasn't, but it just takes a few moments, and that's what people are going to, good or bad, and that's what people are going to latch on, and that's what's going to define you.